Alright guys, hello and welcome to the channel. This is David and this is our channel, Faramir's Rangers. So if you are new to the channel, I do a lot of Empire Total War content, but in this campaign I'm doing a video obviously on Empire Total War, but I'm trying to beat Legend of Total War's Blitz campaign, where he did Great Britain and took over the world. He ended up thinking he was going to be able to complete it in less than 8 turns. He actually completed the campaign in 3 turns. So this is going to be quite a challenge indeed to defeat the whole world in less than 3 turns. So that means I've got to do it in 2 turns. This is going to be pretty difficult. I think I've got a pretty good shot at beating it, and we'll go into why. And actually, it's something that Legend himself figured out late in the campaign when he was in India. Diplomacy trick, and this is a trick that I learned through an Empire Total War Facebook group that I am a part of, and I can't remember the person's name, and I really tried hard to find the Facebook post that he initially put, and I don't even know if he is the person that came up with the exploit, but anyways, that's how I learned it. That was the path I learned it, and then I've seen in Legends that he had learned it from somebody else as well. So anyways, yeah, so it's been many years since he's done this. I've thought about doing this for a long time, and I really never tinkered with using the exploit until recently, and then I thought, wow, this can really actually get done quicker, I think, based on this exploit. And we'll go into that here in greater detail. So anyways, we're going to be doing this as France in this campaign, and we're going to be setting the difficulty to very hard, and let's get to it. Alright, our first priority is to not listen to things she says, but what we are going to do is definitely lay homage to the man Legend of the Total War. Again, it is his vision that really brought a lot of this campaign to the table. Now, I will say that the naval tactics that he uses is a naval tactic that I had been using already, so it was kind of out there in the Empire community. I had learned it through watching videos such as Palul, way back in like 2009 ish is when I learned it, and then also from a searching on the internet, I found a guy who actually went into a lot of naval details and showed like pictures of how to do it and stuff. He didn't even, I think he had a small video clip, but that's how I learned how to do the naval tactic. But anyways, I go in my naval tactics video. If you want to check that out, you can. But without doing a whole lot of gibberty jabbering and yada yada, and want to get into this too quickly, but there is a lot of information to kind of go over, if you will. Now, again, I can't say enough about Legend of Total War. His creativity and exploits, like the attach-detach artillery thing, it was something I didn't know about at the time until watching his video. Now, his assaults on the forts was a tactic that I kind of in some way had been using, but I've since perfected that in the time since his series, 4 years ago. Obviously, I've got over 8,000 hours in this game, so yeah, I've kind of got tactics have been tweaked over the years. So let's get into it. Let's stop the gibberty jabbering and yada yawn, and let's get right to it. Alright, so in the effort of speeding this thing along, because there is going to be a great deal of diplomacy in this thing, you're going to see I'm just going to be working my cabinet members try to get the best possible candidates into office, if you will. Yeah, so here we go. Once again, this is Faramir's Rangers, and we are to it. My name is David, and let's start the diplomacy. We're going to be working with Spain, and we are going to exploit them on this military access exploit. We're going to bleed them completely dry of all their money with this exploit. Basically, what we're doing is we're trading military access for money and canceling it because it is indefinite, so it doesn't affect them. They don't know that it could be for however long is what indefinite is. So when we cancel it, it doesn't have any ill effects, and then we just repeat the process. So you can see we did that with Spain. Now we're doing it with Valia, and we will bleed them dry once we find the sweet spot of what they're willing to give up, if you will. So we're finding that sweet spot with Westphalia, and it looks to be about 750-ish, but they want a military alliance, but whatever. I mean, we'll end up giving them that, I think, because they are determined to have this stuff. So yeah, we end up giving it to them, and we are able to bleed them dry of all their income as well. So basically how this works is you have to be neighbored to said region or said nation to be able to do this exploit. So therefore, I go into this in great detail in my never ever do this video. It was about a month ago. If you want to check that out, I'll leave the link in the description. I go into it in greater detail there. So I'm not going to really spend a lot of time on it, but just show you that yes, we are bleeding them dry. Alright, and then obviously we're going to do the same thing to our other neighbors. Württemberg, you're next on the chopping block. Let's get all of your money. And some of these will, you just got to find the sweet spot of what the money is that they'll give up for it. Once you find that, you can bleed them dry of everything. Okay, sadly, I could not get anything done with Savoy. They just were not having it, so we got to move on to the 13 colonies, bleed them dry of everything. Again, I do apologize if I am doing this at a breakneck pace, but trying to do this so that I don't bore the shit out of you, so I hope you do appreciate that. Now, in trading with the Hurons, something interesting happens. I'm able actually to get the Northwest Territory from them. That's a pretty great region that I was able to pick up. So I was pretty ecstatic about that because that's the first nation I picked up through diplomacy, and almost I got it for practically nothing. And after I got it, I ended up bleeding the Huron for all the rest of their income that I spent to get it. So yeah, so we get the Inuit and bleed them dry. Then it's time to look at other nations. I just want to make sure we get every nation possible that we're bordered with, and we are bordered with the Dutch at in the Guyanas, so we're able to do the same to them and exploit them. Okay, so now as we get to the Ottomans, I'm not bordered with them, but I'm going to do something. Actually, I was able to trade and give them a nice chunk of my money, and I got Moldavia, and there's a reason for that, because now I'm bordered with the Ottomans, and I can bleed all the money I just spent to get Moldavia and take it right back from them. Now, I will tell you, at some point, they reduced down what they were willing to trade, so I actually had to trade like for $200 each time to get back I think it was the last 10,000 of the dollars. So pretty much I put my mouse to great work on my computer. Hopefully my mouse will make it through this series. But anyways, by doing that, I was able to then be bordered with Austria. So now you can see I will bleed them dry of every dollar that they got. And I believe at some point, yeah, Austria becomes a little bitchy, and I have to reduce down the amount with them. as well, but at some point I find the sweet spot and bleed the rest of their money dry. Alright, so also I am now bordered with Poland, Lithuania, all due to Moldavia, or Moldavia, whatever the fuck it's called. Anyways, yeah, so now I'm going to bleed the Polish Lithuanians dry of all their income, and also I will be able to do the same thing to the Crimea Khanate. So, yeah, all by picking up Moldavia. Okay, so after taking care of all that, now I am going to see what I can get out of the Mughal, because I don't have any ability to strip the income from these guys over in India, so I'm going to be working that magic to see what I can get done. Hopefully I can trade for Hybridad, that's the goal, but unfortunately the only thing I can get out of them is Kashmir, but it does border me with Persia and the Mughal, so that is acceptable. I wasn't able to get Kashmir, that was my goal, because Kashmir would have bordered me with Mysore and also Mughal and the Maratha Confederacy, but it wasn't to be, so now we'll strip the Persians of all their money and the Mughal to get all my 55,000 that I spent on it back. Yes, 55,000. It is getting quite expensive to buy territories at this point. Every time I find a price, the price goes up very considerably for regions. So that makes it all the more difficult. Alright, so at this point I am trying to get a region that is close to Prussia, so I can bleed them dry, and also Saxony, and possibly even Bavaria. So I'm working on trying to get regions from Poland, Lithuania, and from Austria, but these greedy bastards, they just ain't giving it up. Alright, so that brings us to Sweden, and Sweden we're going to try and get Estonia and Livonia from them. That will actually border me with Courland, so that would be good. The other option that I tried to get was Finland, but that wouldn't have done me any good, so I went with Estonia and Livonia, because at least I'm able to border with Courland. Once again, I'm trying to get money from every single nation. As you can see, I'm already in the $112,000 point, and we haven't even done anything yet other than do diplomacy. Okay, so after I am able to get Estonia and Riga from Sweden, I then, again, I exploit getting all the money out of Courland, and then, yeah, things start to dry up quite a bit for the region buying experience, if you will. Alright, so with Sweden giving me that up again, I'm get all those goals taken care of. Now it's time to turn our attention to Russia. There are some regions bordering Russia that I'm not able to get a hold of, so we buy Don Viasco for, it had to end up being 100,000, so I have to bleed them dry of all their all the money I just gave them. So at first I'm able to trade for quite a bit of money, but then quickly Russia decreases that amount, and I think I had to go down to like 250 over the course of I think it was like, oh god, it might have been like $30,000. So it was painstaking. It took like an hour to do, maybe longer. Alright, and the reason I targeted Don Viasco was so that I could then be bordered with Georgia and Dagestan, and I could then bleed them dry, which I promptly do. So thank you to both of those nations for their contributions to our cause in this campaign. We greatly appreciate it. Alright, so just as things are starting to dry up with the diplomacy as far as buying regions, I start really trying to do something with the Cherokee, and I'm able to get Georgia off them. But I'm trying a little bit more out of them as I bleed my money back out of them. At some point, I'm able to actually get, what is it, the Kentucky territory from them for practically nothing. I mean, I think they even offered it to me. I was kind of shocked. So, yeah, I got 2 regions off the Cherokee. Alright, and I am just going to continue to try to get everything I can out of diplomacy. My next goal is to try to get Komi out of the Russians, but they aren't doing it. They want regions in exchange, and I'm not willing to do that at this point. So, yeah, that ends up being failed. Okay, so that kind of takes us where we're at now. So let's take a look at what we have just to refresh everyone's memory. Alright, so we took Northwest Territory from the Huron, and we also got 2 regions from the Cherokee, which I'm still in shock about that. But we got 2 regions from the Cherokee, and then from the Mughal we got Kashmir. And then from Russia, we got Don Viasco. And from the Ottomans, we got Moldavia. And then from Sweden, we got Estonia and Livonia. So we picked up some pretty important regions. And again, I can't stress enough why these are important to us. Is because, number one, this gives us a launching point from in India to be able to take over India, and it also gives us a launching point from Russia and into the Middle East, and also it helps us to kind of sweep through the Central Europe a little bit faster, and then of course adding these extra regions from the Cherokee just makes it a little easier for us. We're still going to have some difficulties, if you will, but you can look at we have 15 regions already. We are way over everybody in prestige. And let's see, just to make sure, because I don't think I put this at the beginning. Let me see. Where do I go? Okay, yeah, so you can see everything is set to very hard, just so that is clear. And I do have time limits on battles, and that is different from what Legend had, but I don't want to sit in battles forever. So I did put keep the time limits, because my time is pretty important to me at this point in my life. So anyways, that gives us a good setup for where we need to go on this challenge. We are sitting with 133,000 in the bank, and we can obviously bring that money up because I did spend quite a bit of money on recruitments and fixing some buildings up and so forth, just to get us going. But we can see how we go. We might not even need to spend any of this money. I would think, because we did spend money on this building here and this, because our public order is a little bit down. We should have that under control next turn. But yeah, that's kind of where we stand with things right now. Okay, so the next step is kind of tricky because we've kind of bled through everything we can on the diplomacy. People are not wanting to really deal with me at this point for any reason. Now, so we have a kind of fork in the roads, if you will. What do we do from here? We can start working on declaring war on people and start working to take their regions and knock out naval fleets, and so on and so forth. Or we can, do that plus get the intern and try to bleed all of our neighbors dry of their income again. And that will put us at a massive amount of money, pretty much something where we should be able to trade for more regions as well. But that puts us another turn away before we can actually use those regions. So that puts us into turn 3 right there. So I don't think that is really an option. I think if we can do this, I think we can do this with what money we have right now. I think we can actually beat this campaign maybe in one turn, one intern, so that'd be 2 turns, and that's kind of the goal where I'm looking at. So any more bleeding dry would be just for income of anybody that we do on the intern. So I think what we need to do is we need to start attacking, taking as many regions as we can this turn, and then go to the intern, bleed whoever else is left around dry of their money, and then kind of take it from there. So that's kind of where I think we're going to go with this. All right. So anyways, I think we'll pick up the next episode with the actual start of the campaign, if you will, to conquer the world. So if you did enjoy this content, please don't forget to like and subscribe, and we will see you on the next episode as we start to take over the world. And again, a big shout out to Legend of Total War for his amazing accomplishment with his campaign. Without his vision, we wouldn't be doing this campaign series. So a big thank you to him for being an inspiration. All right, thanks again, guys. We'll see you on the next one.